Have you used our interactive pricing tool? Well, Loretta from Perfectly Popped is here and she's going to have a go with it to price this and get us perfectly priced. Hello, Greg from Balloon Market here and welcome to BMTV. And as you can see this week, we're on the sofa with Loretta from Perfectly Popped. Hello.
Hello.
It's quite nice to be on the sofa, isn't it?
It's so nice not to have to blow up a balloon.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah, it is fine. I mean, we're called Balloon Market. We kind of want to encourage people to do that. But if you don't want to do that today, it's fine.
I'd rather talk about it today.
Let's talk about it. Anyway, today's show, it's a special one. It's a very hot topic. I think it's something that is very important in the industry and something that isn't always done properly. And that is, of course, pricing, isn't it?
Pricing.
Right. We're going to show an example of, well, we've priced that, haven't we?
We've priced this.
And we'll come to that. But before, let's get comfortable and then let's talk a little bit about pricing and your view on pricing and how it should be done. What's important about pricing?
In a nutshell, pricing, I think, is important for the whole industry, not just for like us as individuals to earn a profit and to keep our businesses going, yes, but as a whole, that we could all work together better charging correctly. And it's not about overcharging, charging too much, or undercutting. It is about just if we're all singing from the same hymn sheet, roughly, your tool here can be the hymn sheet, then I just feel that we could all succeed together and this kind of energy that's out there at the moment could maybe dissipate.
I think there is an element of people thinking they've got to charge less because they're new.
Yes, 100%.
Or there is the whole, I wouldn't be able to charge that in this area.
All the time.
Well, what do you say to people in that situation when they say that?
Okay, so I say, in the nicest possible way, I don't care what area you live in, there's rich mindset, there's poor mindset everywhere.
Yeah.
We all live in areas that have got people that can't afford the balloons for whatever reason, but we've also got people that will do anything to afford the balloons, and then we've got the people that can afford them no end.
Yeah.
There's people everywhere, that your clients are everywhere and you'll find them in all different places.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I always say I don't care where you live. It's not just about how much the stock cost and then, I reckon that's about 20 quid.
Yeah.
It isn't. It's the whole service and message and memories you're giving within this beautiful piece that's like, and it's done well because you've been trained well and, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
There's more to it than product.
Well, on that note, let's have a look at this.
Yes, let's.
So this is our pricing tool, everybody. We did a balloon, a pricing show, I think it was about 9 years ago, and it was with Mark Drury, who was with Qualitex back then. And I didn't understand the sheet. I didn't really get it. I've been in business 12 years. I didn't really get how you work this pricing sheet. So he explained it to me for an hour off camera. I got it, but I wanted to make it as easy as possible. So I created this spreadsheet. It's just a very simple spreadsheet, but it's available on the website. Just go to the resources section, interactive pricing tool.
And I love that you're showing this because I think a lot of people will know that you have this, but will feel overwhelmed just even looking at it if they're not a computer business type person. They're just good at the making. This is really good that we're going to show this because people will feel like, oh, okay, that's how you fill it out. The bit at the bottom that we're going to explain, people will just go, ugh.
It's very, very simple. You enter your details of your customer, job number, I've made up Mr. Jones. You're not going to have to do this every time, but it's worthwhile doing.
100%
for what you do on a regular basis, for sure.
It's going to help so much overwhelm for people. I don't know why we're not using it enough. This is great.
So all you do, you enter in everything that you've had and the actual quantities. So you wouldn't have a bag of 5-inch, you would just have how many you actually used. We added a few 5-inch just in case pops. We added one extra 12-inch in case of a burst.
We just worked out a pack of 5-inch Sempertex or whatever brand you're using, and then you divide it by how many are in the pack, and this worked out to about 6 or 7p.
This is a 5-inch is, it says 7p on here, but it's rounded it up, it's 0.66 pence. That includes the VAT, because I know most people aren't VAT registered. So
I'm a round up girl, not gonna lie. So I'll just say that's 7p, and you just do 7 times how many balloons we use, 35. Then you've got that price. So just in case you're thinking, how did you get to that number? That's how we did it. With the high float, like Greg just said, we went into high float, the product information, worked out how many balloons you can get out of each squirt. That's how we did the division.
It says in the description how many squirts you get in a bottle.
Then we just did the division, and that's how we got to that, just in case anyone was like, ah.
And then for the helium, we just used the G20. Again, we used our balloon market price, and that it's about £1. But if you had a bigger cylinder, like one of the steel ones rather than the ones on wheels, that might be a bit cheaper. If you have one of the really big ones, if you do a lot of helium, that would be cheaper still per balloon. But if you allow roughly £1 per balloon, that's
helium. Remember, that's just the helium.
Then we've got the foil bear. We've got the foil clouds, 2 of those you can see there. The pink ribbon. What we did, we got the ribbon is, I can't remember what it was, a few quid, and divided that by 250 metres and just multiplied it by 5 metres I put there. So
we kind of estimated we used about 5.
Roughly a penny a metre. Mini bows. So
these ones. So you pack. They come in a pack of 12. These are the 5 centimetre ones. They come in a pack of 12 on the balloon market.
So we had 5.
We used 5. Did we use 5?
4.
4. We used 4.
And then 260s. You use some of those for decoration.
The ones you can't see as well. We've calculated.
Frilly weight. There's one frilly weight inside, and the Oasis glue sheets. So
with the trick that we used for the bear.
We didn't use actually 3 full sheets, but that because you used some glue dashes, but we've just
calculated that as if we've cut them in half.
So the total price there, including VAT, is £15.47. So a lot of people would think, oh, well, I'll charge 20 quid for that.
They absolutely would. So if we buy it off the Balloon Market website, calculate your delivery, and then it comes, then you make it. Out of what you've purchased there has cost you £15.47. Why would you charge 20 quid for it with a £5 profit? Because you wouldn't be in £5 profit, would you?
The big thing that people don't take into consideration is their time.
Yes.
Because it is even if you were to say, okay, well, it cost me £15.47, I could charge that, easily get 25 quid for that. I've made a tenner. And if I make 5 of these, I've made 50 quid. That's brilliant. In theory, yes, because you get that money and that money comes to you, but you're not allowing for that time. And if you say were employing somebody, say you had to, then you've got to allow for that time. But if you're not employing somebody, you should still allow for your time. Otherwise, your profit is not really real. Exactly.
You're not allowing for any of the overheads and all of that, which we'll get onto. There's nothing being. It's the stuff that you don't think about, and I think it's the stuff that no one's really taught about when you're running your own business. They're just taught, oh, well, this is how you make balloons, but actually, how do you actually run your business? How do you make a profit doing balloons is different.
I think the business side of running a business is something people don't like.
No.
But some people really love it. That's the side I prefer, and I know you're the same. I really enjoy the business side of it. And if you do think from a business point of view, you've got to think like this. So anyway, allowing for your time. Now, the minimum wage is, I think, £12.21. I'm not too sure, something like that. It's May 25. You might think, okay, I'll charge £12.21. But that's if you're going to work, you're working 8 hours a day, you're getting paid, no matter how productive you are or not, you're getting paid £12.21 a day. And so you know that's coming in. When you're doing this might take you half an hour to make, but what about the time, as you said, just placing your order? deciding,
planning, the talking to the client, the admin side of things of taking their order when they first pop into your DMs. The time starts there, because it probably took you longer for the client to decide what they want, to go backwards and forwards with pricing before you could have made 2 of them. So none of that is the unbillable hours.
Indeed. So, but it's all got to be taken into consideration.
Yes.
But it's got to be realistic as well.
Yes,
because if
it
you
has
did
to be
actually
realistic.
charge for, placing your order and talking to the client and all of that, you could.
It would never end. You'd overcharge it.
But what is going to happen, and this is something you've got to consider in the future, is that once you've got that and you've put that on Instagram, people say, I want that. Okay, so you've not had to deal with very much communication.
Yep, becomes easier.
You might have all of that in stock already.
Yep.
So it gets better. So the more you do, the easier it gets.
100%.
And that's the same with labour. So,
and they need the patience as well.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people have got the patience to see how that will progress into something else, and they can't foresee, okay, I'll put that on my Instagram, that's going to sell, I might sell 5 of them. There's so much more behind the scenes to all of this, till they go, the penny's dropped, okay, I get this now, and this is how I earn the profit. There's so much to it.
Well, let's talk about that hourly rate.
So this is
I would have put that at £30.
Mm-hmm.
You talked to me off screen, and you said at the beginning of people's journeys, you would probably have that at £20 because you don't want to scare people off, is what you're saying. As in, your people that are charging £20.
Yeah, my students, when they come to me, most of them don't have an hourly rate.
Yeah.
So if I went straight in and said, right, £30 to £35 an hour, that would scare them. And I'm not here to scare them. I'm here to build their confidence to get them to that.
Okay.
So starting at 20 is way better than nothing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Way better, which we've worked out.
But of course, at the beginning, if you're charging £20, say you're brand new, the first time you do that, it might take you 45 minutes, might take you an hour.
Might take you an hour, yeah.
So, but as you do more of them, that'll
quick.
come down.
Yes.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you're charging, you can increase your hourly rate.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely fine.
Yeah, and confidence will increase their hourly rate. I do understand when people come into the industry, I can't possibly charge that. I'm not as good as you, and you. But that's fine that you think that, or I don't think that's fine. I don't think you should think that. You're on your own journey. But I think that you will build that confidence the more that you do it. But also your clients aren't thinking that. They're coming to you, and I think that's what they need to remember, that the clients are looking at them, right, and thinking, wow, I've never seen anything like it. You have, because you follow loads of balloon artists, but your client doesn't follow loads of balloon artists. They follow you because they're in your area, right? So they're looking at you thinking, wow. So I think it's really important to remember that. It's okay that you think, I can't quite charge that because I'm new, but your clients aren't thinking that. And you've got to think of a new shop that might open up on a high street. They're brand new, but do you think they come in and go, I've got to undercharge everyone because I'm new? No,
you open a coffee shop, I can only charge 50p, I can't charge £4. You just wouldn't.
Right, you just wouldn't, you can't. And I think that's something we need to ingrain in the balloon industry, is that you are good enough. If you've done a course and you've been trained properly and you are learning and you are selling, then that's enough.
Yeah.
It is enough, and you're only going to get better. You're going to get better every time. Like, I've seen my students start with their bouquets. They come to me, and then after just one bouquet training with me, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Look at that. And then that's when they're like, this is where I can charge more. And then it makes them feel better. But actually, you just decided you couldn't charge what you could charge at the start, really.
Exactly.
You decided that, no one else.
And you made a good point there about your customers. They're not comparing lots of balloon decorations. It's quite a unique thing. You see something like that, you tell them that it costs this, that's what they understand that to be worth.
Yeah.
They don't, I'm going to shop around, because they're not going to get exactly the same as that anywhere.
No.
It's not, it's the creativity that you've added.
Yeah.
coming back to the £20.
So if we started at 20,
we'll leave it at 20. We'll say
it's not ideal, but it's a starter for the beginners.
Well, we'll do some tweaks and show the difference here. And then we go down other expenses that might be for delivery and stuff like that.
I wouldn't deliver this unless they ask for delivery and obviously add it on, but it would be collection only for something like this.
And then the other things that you've got control over are your overheads and what you decide your profit want to be. So we've put 30% profit in there, which is pretty good.
It needs to be. Please don't go under the 30%.
Yeah. So
I know that might be scary for some, but it's just, we've worked this out on lower, and you guys need to sit and work this out on lower and then go, it can't be. It makes no sense for it to be lower than 30.
Well, if you've allowed for your time there, that is, this is realistic.
Yeah.
So overheads. Now, the only way you will really know your overheads, if you've been in business a few years, you've got accounts, you can see what your overheads are, you can see what your sales are, you can work out a percentage.
Yeah.
And then you can apply that percentage. If you are like most people that are balloon decorators, you work at home.
Yeah, like me.
Your overheads are going to be what they are, really.
Yeah.
If you're living in the house, yes, okay. If you're working in the day, obviously you might have the lights on that you wouldn't if you were out doing a job or whatever. But it always used to sort of be 35%, I would have said. But if we say 10%, you think that's probably about
Start
right.
at 10 to 15 for the working from home people. Those that have got a shop, you will know what to put. And or those that hire a unit or whatever, you've got to work that out. It's all individual, this is all very individual.
Well, let's do some tweaks then.
The overheads.
Let's change that to 15%.
Yeah.
And see what that does.
You know, so cost of living's gone up.
Indeed. So you can see the selling price just went up from, sorry, we didn't look at the selling price. We'll come to what you said.
Yeah, the 10% one.
So 10%, £42.45, that's 30% profit, and that's allowing £20 labour for your time.
And I'm a round up girl, so £43.
Yeah.
On the 10% and 30%.
Okay.
On the £20 an hour, the 10% overheads, the 30% profit, £43.
But we had the conversation off screen, and I know we asked in the last BMTV what people would charge. So it's a shame that one's not out yet to see what the answers were.
Yeah.
What would you charge for that then?
See, I just went off of like how quick I can do it, and I went about £45, and that was just off the top of my head. That was without working anything out.
So this is pretty.
So it was pretty spot on with what I was thinking.
I think labour, that's a bit. Did we change that? Let's just do some more tweaks. Let's make it £30 an hour. All of a sudden, that's gone up to £50. It's like, oh no, wait a second. But you might do that in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, that's back down at 42, 45.
Exactly.
So that's the difference. That's why have confidence in that £30 an hour. Oh, by the way, you don't have to tell your clients what you charge per hour. This is just for you pricing.
You do not break this down.
This is not, you're not a builder or a plumber or anything that you say, oh, I charge £30 an hour. This is just for you to get your pricing done. We talked about people not charging for their time.
Yep. Most people don't.
Let's not charge for time.
Let's not charge for time.
See what happens,
I love this.
£25.
£25, which is what most people would look at that and say it's £25. Okay, of course it's £25, but where's your time? You would not work in Sainsbury's, Tesco's.
You wouldn't work for no money, would you?
You wouldn't work for free, right? And this is the thing. You wait for your wages every month to get paid when you work in a shop, right? You can't wait, and you don't feel guilty about it when that money comes in. You want to be paid. But for some reason, what I've noticed is students feel guilty receiving money.
Yeah, I know.
It seems to be a guilty thing. And that's something I like working on with my students, that you've got to work on your money mindset, and that money isn't put on a pedestal that's unreachable for everybody. We all have it, but we all decide what we do with it and what's more important to spend our money on, right? So if you get a client that would pay £25 for that, there's going to be loads of people that pay £25 for that. There's going to be a less percentage that will pay the £45 for that, but they are the clients that you want.
Absolutely.
They're the clients that are going to keep you in business. But it's the mindset that, but I need to do 10 of them for £25, then you're just going to be a hard-working fool and your business isn't going to last. You would rather work on 3 of them for £45, have less clients but more profit. And that's the thing, people get all very like, ah.
I've got an example of that I learned years ago from a web developer that did our first website. I've talked about this before. And they were doing a website for a hotel. And the hotel, a big part of their business was coach trips, you know.
Yep.
You've got people that are generally quite elderly.
Yep.
And they go on their coach trip and they'd go into this hotel and they would have a special rate of, say, £35 per person per night, sharing a room or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the web designer said to the hotel, said to the company, just double your prices. And they said, we couldn't do that. We'd lose the coach business. He said, yeah, you would. And they took a risk, and they did that. They doubled their price. I don't know if it was double. I think it was double the prices. And they lost the coach business. But they had fewer people staying, but they were making more money.
Yes.
So there was less.
Exactly.
They didn't need all the staff that they had
Yeah.
when you had full coaches coming in.
Yeah.
They needed fewer staff, but they were still able to offer the same level, well, better service, but be more profitable.
Yeah.
And I think don't be a busy fool. That's absolutely
that's
what
it.
you don't want to be.
Would you like, for example, with the premium bouquets, it really breaks my heart when I've done an education day with the premium bouquets, and I always go through pricing at the end of my training because I want them to charge properly, because if they're not charging properly and I've just trained them everything I know, it affects me.
Yeah.
I don't want it to affect me. It will make me want to stop educating.
Yeah.
Do I want to stop educating? Not really, but that will stop me because I'll be like, oh, I don't want to share because you're not pricing properly.
Yeah.
I love what I'm doing. So I would rather do £150 bouquet and spend 2 hours on that, and my day is finished and I've earned £150 that day. I've got freedom to spend with my son. Or do I want to book 5 of these in, or 4 of these in, it'll be 6 of them.
6 of those.
6
If
of
you were
those
doing it at 25 quid.
If I was doing it at £25, 6 of them, and I'm like stressing or thinking, oh, I rushed off my feet with all these people and all the admin, 6 people I've got to contact, or I can earn £150 with one dream client that trusts me with everything, paid the full amount, and I'm done for the rest of the day. But it's telling people that those clients exist, and I promise you they do, because they're in my world, so they can be in yours.
Absolutely.
And I'm no better than you guys. I'm just more confident, and I think that's all it is.
And that word is what I think is key with this. People don't have the confidence to charge. And something else that I learned a good few years ago now is I thought people were undercutting because they wanted to get the job. They wanted to buy the thing.
There is an element of that.
And there might be, but I think the majority of people, as you alluded to earlier on, are, oh no, I couldn't charge the same as Loretta. She's been doing it for ages and is really good at it, and she's, really well known and all of that.
Yeah.
I couldn't charge the same as Loretta. And so people don't have the confidence to charge that.
You're right.
And I think you've got to have the confidence. And if people say you are more expensive, or they give you a budget, and like you were saying earlier on, don't say, yeah, I can do that then for that price if they want to go lower. Just say, oh yeah, I can absolutely do something within that budget. I'll get some options together for you. Yeah.
You lower the product, not the price. So if you go in for £45 with this and they go, oh, that's out of my budget. Okay, well, let's take off the helium.
Yeah.
Then what would we charge for it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take off the bows. Let's take off some of these. So maybe give one cloud. I can bring it down to fit your standard of budget.
What normally happens in that situation?
What normally happens?
I know what normally happens. They want the whole thing, so they pay anyway.
Yes, because then they go, oh, but it's not going to look as good. Or the trouble is, that isn't always the outcome. I know firsthand the responses that my students might be having issues with, which is why they come into my mastermind, is that they'll be ghosted, or they'll get told they're too expensive, or they'll go, oh, well, someone around the corner is charging me £10 for that, so I'll just go to them. That's sometimes what they're getting, which is what the problem's becoming.
That's a different scenario. See, you're always going to have people, what do you charge for this? It's this. And you never hear from them again. Ghosting is... We used to do a lot of balloon printing, and our conversion rate, I think, was 20%. So we'd only get 2 sales for every 10 inquiries. And it can be disheartening sometimes, but that's a reality. A 20% conversion rate is actually quite, well, it was quite good for what we were doing at the time. Whereas this, if you've got somebody saying, oh, I've got a budget, first of all, that's normally a good indicator.
That's something I encourage my students to get, is the budget.
Yeah.
I always say, don't even bother going in with a quote. Ask them first, what's your expectations of what you want and what's your budget? What are we looking at? So I can make something or present you with something that's going to fit within that budget. So you're not being unrealistic, because clients most of the time don't know what anything costs. And then if they do, they assume it to be well under. They're very unrealistic with their pricing. So it's managing the client as well.
It's training the client.
It's training the client, you're right.
But then at the same time, you'll end up with these clients that spend, we had one, and it was a lady, son's first birthday, spent 600 quid. And for the second birthday, third birthday, the budget got bigger and bigger. It ended up being for like fifth birthday, it was over £1,000 just on balloons. She was having this full, massive thing. And it's amazing if you can get those clients. Not all those clients.
No, but they do exist.
But they do exist.
And they get better every year because they realise the impact that it has, and how everyone, remember that, I don't mean this in a horrible way, but when you're hosting an event and someone's like, oh my God, you've done such a great job, they love that. Like that, the host loves that. So you making them look good, they're going to spend more every year. Because they're like, oh, I've booked the best balloon artist, and I've made everyone want to get photos with my backdrops. And, you know, those clients love that. So they will go bigger and better each year, because their ego, they love it.
I think the last point I want to touch on, I think we're done with this. So you can check this out.
Change it all up, play with it.
Change it all up. Let's put in £25. Let's go middle. £25. And it comes up 46, 62.
47.
You'd obviously look at your market as well, but use this more as a guideline than anything else. If you see that everybody else is selling whatever it is you're selling £10 more, charge £10 more. I mean, or even more than that. If everybody is selling these things
for 25
quid,
let them.
Let them, You probably don't want to try and compete.
Do not compete with it.
I think you've just got to have that confidence. So if people are saying, yes, I want it, but it's just a bit too expensive. The thing is, if people say it's too expensive, I always used to go to people when we're doing the balloon printing and saying, oh yeah, absolutely, we're not the cheapest. If you want the cheapest, then go. If cheap is what you want, I used to say. Because cheap has got other connotations. It's not just the price. Oh, if cheap is what you want, there's other people that do that. But do they guarantee it's going to be with you in time for your event? Do they guarantee that if it's not, you'll get a full refund? Do they, all of this sort of
guarantee that it's made properly? Like anyone could probably attempt to chuck one of these together, but can they?
Oh, here we go.
Turn it upside down and chuck it around without anything falling off.
I'm so glad nothing fell off.
So am I.
It's not going to. We saw how that was made. That was today. So
I think you should have faith in the what Perfectly Pop stands for, to be honest.
Indeed.
But yeah, they can't guarantee that the kid can pick it up, chuck it around, because that's what kids do. I can pretty much guarantee that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That. So and the confidence thing, it doesn't happen overnight. We're not born with confidence. It is very much, what you've been through in life, how you were raised, what your backstory is, and it's whether you decide for change that you want to be confident, and it's deciding, okay, I want my business to be successful. Confidence has to come with that for being a business owner, and confidence comes from action. You can't experience yes clients until you've taken action to get the yes clients. And then when you get them, you're like, oh, that feeling. And then you just live in that feeling of, well, someone did buy it for £45. Therefore, I know there'll be other people that will buy it for £45. So-and-so's, whoever bought that for £45, she's got friends, or he's got friends that all have the same mindset that will pay £45 for it. And that's how it rolls.
I think the confidence is the biggest thing. That's the message I want people to get out of this show.
Action.
Is have confidence. Take action. Have confidence. And I know it takes time to build. But the other thing, and the final thing really, because we are going on a bit, is what is your wow worth? So as we alluded to earlier, your average Joe on the street sees that, they've not seen anything like that before. What is that worth? And your huge fancy stacks, bouquets that you call them.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that worth? Because the
Yeah.
wow factor, if you go out of a room and come back in, it's like, whoa, that is amazing.
Yeah.
What's that worth? And that's what something else
Exactly.
you've got to consider.
Exactly.
So
All
that's
them
linked into the
flowers,
confidence.
all them flowers, all them extra things you're putting on them premium bouquets, and especially if you've done my training, they are so worth what we charge for them.
Yeah.
And all my students that come through my program know that we sit down and we work out their pricing for them that they're comfortable with. I want them out of their comfort zone, but they also need to be comfortable and confident with what they're charging. And we have a structure of how we price. I won't give that away. Sorry.
Well, if people want, they can
come and join us.
Where would they go to do that?
So you'd have to apply to be on the Success Suite. So it's an application only, and the application there's quite a few questions you have to get through to be accepted into it.
Is that on your website?
It's on my website, which is perfectlypoppedballoons.co.uk. I'm actually upgrading my website soon. It's all going to start looking a lot better, but the information for now is all on there. Funny enough, I had an application come through last night for the next one, and I haven't even advertised the next one. So I'm excited because I love working with people, but I can really only work with the people that are listening to this, that are really resonating, going, I need that, and that's what I want to do. I can't work with the mindset of £25 people, because unless you want to do the work, I'm not the coach for you.
Yeah. Anyway, as a guest on BMTV,
oh no, the question.
you get to ask the question of the week.
What would you charge for this?
No, we did that in the last one.
What's your hourly rate? After today, what are you going to put as your hourly rate?
Oh, that's a good one, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, let's not keep it a secret. What's your hourly rate? Share it. Why does it have to be a secret? Because then if we start sharing what each other's hourly rates are, we can all go, oh, okay, I'll charge that hourly rate as well. That's brilliant. That's good for all of us, is it not?
That's a good question of the week.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Please comment and tell us what you're charging for an hourly rate.
Leave your comments down below on Facebook and on YouTube, Loretta. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed this Sophie show.
Welcome.
It's been good. And is that because we didn't hug?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to do some kind of touch.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't, please do hit the bell icon. You'll be notified every time we upload a new show. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on TikTok, where the fun stuff happens. Stay happy and positive. See you all next time. Bye.